Good afternoon. This is Katie Friedman from Unitrends. I'd like to welcome you to our live product demonstration for Tuesday, February the 16th, 2016. Before we get started today, I did want to give you a couple of housekeeping notes. As you may have already noticed, we do have all attendees in listen-only mode. With this in mind, we do welcome your questions throughout today's presentation. However, we do ask that you utilize the chat functionality from the WebEx toolkit, which you will find by selecting the icon with the chat bubble from the drop-down menu near the middle top of your screen if you have that view, or from the upper right-hand corner of your screen if you have that view. Please make sure to address all questions to all panelists so that we can answer your questions as quickly as possible. With those details taken care of, I did want to go ahead and introduce our presenter for today. Today we have Jordan Warsaw, who's a Technical Account Manager here at Unitrends. Jordan?
Thank you so much, Katie, and good afternoon or morning to everyone, depending on what time zone you're in. Just to kind of go over our strategy for today, we're going to start with a company overview for about 5 minutes, talk about Unitrends, what we're trying to accomplish. Then we're going to move into our solution, kind of talking about how our platform is going to be able to fit in your environment. And then from there, I'm going to move into an actual demonstration of the product itself. I'm going to probably intersperse how we're doing the backups and what we're backing up and how we're moving those copies of your data to other places with the actual product itself. So that way I can explain what we're doing and then move into how we're doing it. And then, as Katie said, we encourage all questions, so please leave those, and we'll make sure to leave at least 10 minutes at the end of this demonstration to go over those questions. So before that, why don't we get started with the company overview. So to begin, I know normally everyone loves seeing a bunch of slides about their company, but bear with me. Unitrends is trying to do something a little different. We're in the backup space, but what we're doing is we're providing a solution. And even beyond that, we're providing a radically simple, cloud-empowered, all-in-one continuity solution that increases IT confidence. Nowhere in there are we talking about backup or restores. Although recovery is most important, our whole emphasis here is making a connected continuity platform. A platform that's going to be able to go in, protect your data, move it off of your, copy it off of your production machines onto something that's a copy in case anything happens, and then send those copies or do things with those copies. That's our whole objective, is how do we make your product more effective? How do we make your ideas, your data, your information more secure and more reliable? So that way if something is to happen or you're adjusting something, you know for a fact you're going to be able to get it back. And Unitrends has been around a while. We know a lot of data, we work with a lot of data, and we have over an exabyte of data currently protected. Not only that, but we're located all around the world. We're headquartered up here in Boston, but our development team's out of Columbia, South Carolina. Something that's awesome to note is that with our Columbia, South Carolina development team, we actually have our support team there as well. So that way, any kind of questions or support questions that come up that support is unable to answer, we have the developers and the engineers right there, all in the same building to be able to answer your questions and get you the answers you deserve. So let's talk about why you even need to bother with some kind of platform to protect your data. And really it's because IT professionals have kind of the toughest outlook and the toughest job coming up. Files, data, and servers are all growing at a very rapid rate, but admins aren't. So that while there is, something to be said about the, the increasing of data size for individual files, you can see that there's a lot more stuff that's going into companies. More and more companies are taking more and more of their products to the data center or the cloud, and they're requiring that the same staff be able to handle all that data. So that kind of leaves a hole in what's expected and what's possible. And that's where a solution like the Unitrends platform comes into play. What we're going to do is we're going to give you the ability to ensure that you can stay continuously online. We give you the platform and the means to be able to achieve your recovery if need be, or to secure yourself in case of any disaster or anything that comes up. And then from there, you're going to be able to restore, but do it easily. Our whole goal is how do we make it simple but effective? How do we make it be able to span your whole environment? How do you make it so it conforms and is customizable to what you need to do without being too ridiculous or difficult to use? And we've hit a really nice balance because our focus is on recoverability. How do we keep you confident in your continuity? How do we keep you connected? And frankly, a lot of people nowadays are having trouble being able to recover. And that's where Unitrends is really coming into play, is we're here, we're trying to find a way to make it not only easy, but quick and effective to be able to recover and restore files, folders, servers, VMs, Hyper-V. It's a huge list of what we're able to protect, and we're going to make sure to keep you effective. So with that out of the way of kind of what our company is doing, let's look at the product itself. So with this connected continuity platform, it really begins with a data protection platform. That comes in two main flavors. So you're going to install one of these at each local site that you want to be backing up data. Our Unitrends backup software is an all-in-one software. It comes in 5 different editions and is deployable on Linux, on Hyper-V, or in VMware. And the nice thing is all of the features that you're able to do, such as backing up remotely or locally, are going to be possible with either version. With the software, you have to provide your own storage and hardware. But with our physical appliance, we include the storage and the software all in one box. So it's kind of up to you which makes sense for your environment, and you can feel free to mix and match, even deploying multiple instances per environment. It's kind of whatever makes sense to achieve your business continuity disaster recovery goals. So with that, we know how we're able to get the backup, but that's not enough. Just getting a copy of data isn't sufficient. And that's where disaster recovery and business continuity really come into play. It's like, okay, you can recover, but what if a disaster wipes out the whole data center? Or what if something is propagated through, or I need to recover to a different site, or I need to test this or that? That's where the Unitrends cloud might be a great fit. We have a forever cloud where we're going to keep 7 days, 4 weeklies, and infinite yearlies in our off-site secure location. You're not going to have to pay for a second site, but you're going to be able to recover your data from long ago. And in case something happens to your primary site, we can seed and ship you a brand new NAS or physical appliance to be able to replace the data and the backups that you lost. So it's not going to have any loss of data. It's all about being able to get back up and running. A real focus and theme, hopefully you're seeing with our solution. On top of that, let's say that not only getting the data back is important and being able to recover from long ago, but you want to be able to spin up in a failover site. That's where the DR as a service comes into play. You can optionally add onto our Unitrends cloud a DR as a service, or what you're doing is you're paying for us to basically have your stuff ready to be spun up in less than 1 hour. And that can be VMware, Hyper-V, or Windows. So you know that your data is going to be safe, and you know that you're going to be able to recover. The great thing is you don't have to worry about staffing 24/7. We take care of that for you. You just call our cloud ops team. We're going to spin up all those servers so you can begin bailing water out of the data center or putting out fires, maybe literal fires, or whatever disasters may come your way. On top of all this, though, none of this is really possible unless you can successfully recover. A backup is only good as its recoverability. And to add to the business continuity story, Unitrends has a feature called Reliable DR, or also known as Recovery Assurance. The whole objective behind Reliable DR and Recovery Assurance is the automated testing of your backups, but testing of recoverability. We're going to test the application level, your backups, or your DR plan, or both even, to make sure that you know that recovery is going to be successful. From there, you can actually use the same tool that already tested down to the application level to ensure that you can to actually execute the failover. This generates a great report of exactly how long recovery is going to take and how old the data is going to be, but it's a really simple and easy way to be able to get all of the information that you're going to need to be able to recover and to be able to execute that recovery quickly. So now we kind of see all the tools that kind of come into play. Let's look at where it fits, how we back it up, and the interface itself. So as I mentioned, you're going to deploy one of these local, whether it's the backup software or the recovery series appliance. And each of these are going to be responsible for backing up, whether it's a physical server, virtual hypervisor level backups, NAS file level backups, or application level backups. Let's start with the hypervisor level backups. Unitrends natively supports snapshot level backups of VMware, Hyper-V, and Citrix Xen Server. That means that we're not going in and treating them like physical servers. You have the option to do so, but we do have the native integration to be able to back up and take those snapshots, which means you're going to be able to utilize all of the tools for recovering snapshots. So if you need that quick recovery with a VMware snapshot, you'll be able to get that VMDK back, give it back to a same or different virtual host, and then that server is going to be back up and online. Whereas instead of some traditional tools, you might only be able to back up the files, and the recovery will take longer. That's where we're kind of getting into our file level backup. Unitrends has been around for a while, which means we have over 200 different operating system level backup, file level backups we're able to perform. What that means is that we have a ton of different operating systems we can support backing up their files and to be able to recover even bare metal in some instances. What this means is you can decide whether to treat your physical machines or your virtual machines, whether you want to do deep virtualization, just protect the files within it to not take up as much space with your snapshot backups, or to do some combination. The choice is kind of yours. On top of that, with file level backups, Unitrends also supports backing up CIFS, NFS, or NDMP NASs, certain EMC and NetApp arrays for NDMP. But in that way, you're going to be able to back up all the files and then recover individual files. And that's going to be done agentlessly. It's simply logging in using credentials and being able to pull those files. And lastly, our most, I would say, smallest on the stack, highest on the stack level protection is we have application level protection. We have native VSS quiescing application level backups for SQL, Exchange, Oracle, and SharePoint. Now, what that means is that we can natively go in, log in, and as long as it's in a configure and what's it called, an approved setup, we're gonna be able to go in and back up those databases without having to worry about the corruption, and we'll be able to recover them too. That's everything we'll be able to back up. Recoverability, you can see, is really spread out. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the interface itself? So let me pull that up. Where did I hide it? Here we are. So this is the Unitrends interface. Starting real quick here in the dashboard screen, this is kind of your mission control. You got a nice view of all these, bar graphs and interactive tiles. You can actually move these tiles as needed for whatever makes sense for how you want to configure it. But by and large, you got your backup summary here, which is talking about performance. Here you can see my backup copy, which we'll talk about in a second. Any active jobs that are running are down here, and the storage being used is over here. I can easily add more using the gear icon. Kind of taking over on the top, we've got any system alerts will appear here, any help, configuration, my username info, and then over here on the left, you have different tabs that we're going to talk about, that we're going to go through to talk about the different performance. So here, the nice thing is any of these are actually clickable. So here I can see the average backup speed, total size, and everything used. And if I click this, I can go in. Unfortunately, I don't have any errors. I know I'm saying unfortunately because I want to be able to show you. You can actually click any of the errors that come up, and it's going to take you to the log that was generated with that backup. So you're going to be able to see exactly what failed and why there was an issue. Let's talk about setting up actual backups. So here I'm going to go to the Protect tab. Within the Protect tab, I can view this navigation pane of all my backups, and here I can see, what backups were successful. I check mark as success. Here's a failure hanging out back on my SQL server. If I hit details, it's going to take me right away what issue I have. So opening disk, that was actually what did happen. So it looks like it was all right. Here we go. The backup copy message failed. So the backup copy didn't work, but the backup was complete. We're going to talk about backup copies in a second. That's basically a way of taking the backup and putting it somewhere else. With all this info, we can really quickly kind of browse this. This is kind of my 1,000-level view, or 1,000-foot view, where I can kind of see what's going on. If I want to generate a schedule, it's super easy. To start, just click the backup job. Give it a name, we'll call it backup, select the type. You can see we've got the application level backups, NAS backups, VMware Hyper-V, and agent-based. Check off which servers you want to include. So here's a few file level servers I want to do. Click the edit if I want to add or include or exclude certain things with each of those servers. Then I set up a schedule. I said I want to do fulls and incrementals, incremental forever. Check off which one I want to do, set which date I want to start, which days I want to do the incrementals, what time, if I want to recur it frequently. All these options are kind of available here to be able to utilize, and from there, we're going to be able to go in, set up the target. If it was the software, since it's the physical appliance, you just simply have the internal storage. Hit save. This job is going to be created under the jobs view. And here, under the jobs manager, I can see all my backups. To find a file level backup, here's my file server. I can go in here, I can edit it, adjust it. I can see that it's just backing up this one this one file server. I could go in and include and exclude more things. The nice thing is right here at the Jobs tab, I could also create the backup job from here too. So all the options are available, and I can quickly and easily delete, disable, check out recent ones, see any active jobs that are running. Backups are nice and good, but let's talk about recoverability. So we just kind of showed how to do a file level backup. I'm going to show how to do a VMware level restore. So I'm going to go in here. You can sort either by backup. Here you can see these are all my SQL database being backed up, or by date. I'm going to go down and find a VM backup. Here's my active domain server. I select this backup, and I'm going to either choose to recover the files from the virtual machine or recover the whole server. I also have a third option, which is instant recovery, where what this is going to be able to do is going to enable me to send the VM using storage vMotion to the vCenter, but utilizing the backup storage. What does that mean? Basically means that we're going to be able to get your VMs back up and online in less than 5 minutes without having to transport all the data. So we're going to transfer the data in the background, but in the beginning, we're going to have it up using the backup storage. So it's going to be a little degraded performance, but you're going to be able to get that VM up, which is kind of the important part. So here, looking at recover, hit the recover. It's going to ask me where I want to send that VM to. It's going to ask me if I want to use a specific resource pool and the target storage, and that's it. So I'm going to set up and send it to this ESXi host. I'm going to use my sandbox, which storage I'm going to send it to. Hit next, and this is going to be ready to execute. I could actually send this, and my VM is going to be brought back up online. That's going to be moving all the data, utilizing VMware Instant Recovery. It basically brings it up using the backup storage, so it's going to be out quicker. An additional feature is that I can actually do it in audit mode, so that way my VM isn't connected to any NICs, and I could use it for patch testing or even backup testing, making sure that I can actually recover that virtual machine. Really cool. A lot of nice features you'll be able to do here with your recoverability and your protectability, all just right from within this easy-to-use interface. So now we've seen the backup and recovery. Again, that's kind of the bread and butter of any backup solution. Let's kind of take a deeper dive at, all right, now I know I can back these up. I know I can recover the data. I know how to be able to test it, make sure it works. But that's not enough. I need to make sure my data gets off-site. What if something happens? What about long-term? That's a great concerns to have, and that's where backup copy comes into play. For those of you who have been with Unitrends for a while, we used to call this archiving. But basically what we're doing is we're naming it more directly as to what it is. It's a backup copy. What we're doing is we're taking a copy of the backups and putting it somewhere else. So here in this instance, we have multiple options for places to put a copy of your backups. So all backups have to land locally with Unitrends, but from there, we can copy those backups to NAS, to a LUN on a SAN, to LVD SAS or fiber channel tape. We also have an option to do removable 3.5-inch hard drives with our RxDA, or we can send a backup copy to a cold target to third-party clouds. This means we're just sending the backup files. It's nothing dynamic. You're not able to really utilize it or leverage it other than it's just data. But the great thing is you deploy Unitrends anywhere. You can use these backup copies from these cold targets to recover files, to recover servers, whatever it may need. So let's kind of take a quick look at the backup copy to cold targets. So backup copy is just another schedule going to run here, but it's a schedule of what data I want to send to another, to basically a target. So in this one, we can either send it, to a cold target, which would be the RxDA. That's the eSATA attached hard drives. What we're going to be able to do is we send up how often we want to run these. We want to send what kind we want to send, like everything or just fulls. I can choose to delete, set up the schedule, set up how frequently I want to run it, and then save. And this is going to copy that out to that, send to that backup target. Really easy to use, and the nice thing is within my reports or even my dashboard, I can see the performance of those backups. I'm not sure if we have any of these jobs running right now. Let's take a quick check. Now here is one. Here's one cold backup copy, and here I can see view the details, what I'm sending. I'm sending the file server, the RTS, and our Linux server over to it. But it's great because I can actually generate a report and see the backup copies, the performance I've had, or even the capacity that's being used right from within the interface. So here, I can go in here, I can see which was sent, click on any of these, and I can actually get a log level information of this one that was run. So here I can see these weren't deduplicated. all the details that went into play with each of these backup copies. So cool. That's backup copy. Kind of simple, but really effective. It's really important to be able to protect and utilize our data in the way that we want, in a platform that's connected and continuous. But lastly, we need to be able to, might need to get some quicker recoveries, and that's where our backup copy, the hot target, comes into play. You have two options with each instance of Unitrends. You can either send it to the Unitrends public cloud, where you can get that forever cloud I discussed earlier with the DR as a service, that one hour failover, or the forever cloud, where we're keeping the data indefinitely, 7 years, 4 weeks, 12 months, infinite yearlies. Or you can set up your own private cloud. And with that, what you can do is you can basically the replication uses change block scanning, so actually unique block scanning. So it's checking what blocks are unique and only sending those that are hashed and determined to be unique. Sends them to the secondary site, and they land at this secondary Unitrends appliance. That's kind of a neat way to be able to get that info, and then you can even test your DR plan, as we were talking about earlier, utilizing the reliable DR or the recovery assurance. Configuring it is, again, just as simple within the interface itself. You simply go in, you're going to set up another job. This is where we're going to do a backup copy, but instead of a backup copy, instead of to the eSATA, we're going to set it up to go to the secondary appliance. So what this does is this enables the ability to recover this data at that secondary site. So that's the difference between cold target and hot target. Hot target means that you can that it's sending it constantly and is trying to keep the same retention that you have on site. It's sending every single backup, and it's using the bandwidth that you allotted in the configuration tab. But you're able to recover those servers to those VMware instant recoveries, or even Windows instant recoveries we support spun up on our physical appliance or in VMware Hyper-V. But being able to have all of that is a huge boon. To be able to see to be able to see and get your data spread out as you need it is a great way to be able to kind of ensure that your data is protected. In the information age, information is key, and being able to get it in multiple sites and being able to recover it is really important. And that's why the Unitrends cloud, or even building out your own private cloud, are really a great and easy way to be able to do it. So the last thing I like to the last two things I like to show is, obviously I talked about the configuration. This is where you're going to be able to set up that replication and all that. But the reports is what's really important. Because as we said, until you actually need to recover, what are you doing every day with your backups? You're checking to make sure that they're successful. You're ensuring that they were properly run. There's a lot of stuff that gets into the minutia of what you have to do day to day, and is really important to be able to accomplish, but doesn't necessarily leave us with a lot of confidence. That's, again, where the recovery assurance comes into play. But these reports also have a great insight into your data. You can go and see what's the backup copy capacity I have available on each site. Since I'm not setting up with SA24, you can't, but here I can see what storage am I using right now. I can see that this is how much storage I've got. I've looks like nearly 20 terabytes available of free storage. Going over here to data reduction, I can see the inline dedupe and the compression, how that's performing. Here I kind of see I'm getting the deduplication ratio of it's in the 20s, a total data reduction of 2.4 it looks like. Yeah, so that's the kind of data, that's the logical data I'm able to save. And all these reports are exportable, so I can use them, keep them for a long period of time. And the nice thing is this entire interface is completely scriptable. So you can build out APIs to generate and pull those reports and keep them somewhere for use at a later date. It's kind of neat that we really offer a lot of feasibility with what you're trying to do. This is why it's a platform. This is why we're trying to get through the continuity as a whole. We're not just accomplishing one few pieces, here and there of being able to back up or recover some things. Our whole goal is to be able to, how do we make sure that your platform for your environment is able to bring you that business continuity you need. So with that, to kind of just share just a few things what our customers say. Our whole focus here is really making sure that you're successful. Backup is not the most fun part, but it's necessary. and being able to make sure that we're taking that load off of the production environment and moving that to our product, being able to move it to our software is important, because you don't want your backup to be taking away from your the actual information or even the producing of whatever utility you're trying to produce with your company. With us, we're trying to make it simple and easy to use, make each individual admin more effective, and make each business more resistant to disasters that may occur or the unforeseen circumstances. That's really what you're doing with a backup solution. Being able to make it easier and more effective is really what's so important. So we got a ton of great features we're able to do. A lot of the stuff's included, being able to have this awesome customer support, the deep virtualization, protecting your whole, cloud utilization with Amazon or utilizing the Unitrends cloud. We have a lot of great options and a lot of great stuff coming up too. So if you have any questions, I strongly encourage you to send them to us. But I do appreciate you listening and really seeing what Unitrends can kind of provide in terms of protection, backup, and really recovery and the recoverability of your environment. Our whole point is making a connected continuity platform so we can make sure you have confidence in your recovery and assurance that your downtime is only a temporary thing and you'll be able to know how to be able to recover. So with that, I'm going to pass that over to Katie, and I'll let Katie take any questions or anything else that we need to cover. Thank you so much. Katie?
All right, folks, so we have a couple questions already in the queue. If you are trying to figure out how to ask us a question, just look for the icon with the chat bubble near the upper right-hand corner of your screen, or from the drop-down menu in your middle top of your screen, depending on your view, and make sure to address all questions to all panelists. Before we jump into those questions, I did just want to point out a couple things on our website. First and foremost, there are 2 great ways to test out Unitrends, because we're firm believers and you should try before you buy, so you can see for yourself just how wonderful Unitrends is. When you go to the Unitrends website, you should see the free trial right there on the middle of the front page, and that is a great way to do a real proof of concept. The free trial includes protection for unlimited clients of unlimited data size with unlimited OSs for up to 30 days. And during your trial, you also have access to our award-winning support team. So it's really just a great way to put Unitrends through its paces. If you maybe have a smaller environment or you need a solution for maybe your virtualized environment, our Unitrends free, which you can see right there on the left-hand side of your screen, kind of towards the bottom, is a great option. It provides 1 terabyte of protection for VMware, Hyper-V, and Windows clients. So, 2 different options there. One is going to give you the ability to protect anything that you want. The other one is going to have a little bit more limited protection, but it is free forever. There's no time limit on it. So just a couple different options to check out there. And then just a quick reminder that we will be reaching out to each and every one of you here over the next few days just to answer any questions that may come about after our session ends today. So do be on the lookout for a call from either your local partner rep if you're already working with one of them, or from someone here at Unitrends just to answer those questions. And with that, we're going to jump right into our questions. The first question is coming in from Matt today. And he says, does the instant recovery option work with Zen Server?
That's a great question. The Zen Server is a little bit different. There's no API to be able to do a storage vMotion with Zen Server, but since you happen to have your backups are in the same environment with your Zen Server pool, you're going to be able to get that up quicker because it's all within the same storage. So it depends on how you have it deployed and what you're willing to recover, but you are able to back up those virtual machines. So while it won't be that less than 5 minutes and host it and move the storage at the same time, just because of the Citrix limitation, you will be able to recover it within the same environment, and hopefully it will be pretty quick. Again, really circumstantial depending on each the virtual machine using, as well as the hosts for those recoverability. But that's a great question.
All right, our next question is coming in from David, and we have a couple Davids, a couple Matts today. David is asking, you mentioned that there's a number of different operating systems that you protect. Where can I find a list of this?
Awesome. That's a great question. So here we are on our main site. We actually have a compatibility matrix. You can search for compatibility or matrix. And I don't know why it's loading slowly right now. But here, you're just going to go in. I always spell compatibility. I think that's right. Compatibility. So the compatibility, nope, that was wrong. Compatibility. And then our interoperability matrix. Just go in here, and this is going to have a list of all the operating systems we can back up. It's going to let you know if we can do file level, bare metal backups when the OS was released. You can also see some application integration, so like which versions of Exchange, Oracle, SQL, and SharePoint that we can back up natively, as well as some like AD and Novell configurations that you might need.
All right, and then this question we may need a little bit more clarification from Joel on, but he says, can we back up physical Windows clients with the VMware appliance, or do we have to use Unitrends software to do this? I think he's asking, does he need a physical appliance to protect physical clients, or can he use Unitrends Enterprise backup to do that?
I see your question. That's a good question. The cool thing with our product is that the software on both the Unitrends backup installable version and the physical appliance are very similar. Both of these products over here on the left are able to do and back up the whole environment. So here we're going in. Both of these can back up Windows servers even if they're deployed in VMware. In fact, we actually have, I'm trying to remember, in our, we don't have it in our lab environment right now, but we've done a VMware deployment of the Unitrends backup software and was backing up Hyper-V snapshots with it. So yes, the short answer is yes, you can back up within and outside of the virtual environment. A lot of other products out there, you have to like kind of deploy the solution within every environment you want to do, and that's not the case. You just have to do it within the local area network, and we're able to route and back all that stuff up that way.
And Joseph, thanks. So I believe that we interpreted that question correctly.
Yeah.
Our next question coming in from Derek, and Derek says, Mac OS X 10.11 is not listed. Is that added already and just not in the matrix, or will it be added soon?
It is not in the matrix because we have not implemented it yet, but I know it is in beta, or at least in QA right now. They're developing it, and it should be out within our next release, which is coming out, I believe. It's coming out later. I'll get in trouble if I say too much.
Derek,
but it is on the roadmap.
If you have a specific, if there's something specific with that, we'll follow up with you. But if there's something specific about the timeline, we can definitely answer those questions one-on-one. Make sure that we're really honing in on what you're trying to achieve. So we'll follow up with you on that. And then it looks like we may have one more question, unless somebody's holding on to their questions out there. This last one is coming in from the other Matt, and Matt says, funny, we normally don't have so many people with the same first names. Matt is saying, questions about your support. I'm not based in the United States. Can I still get 24/7, 365 support?
Awesome. Short answer, Matt, yes. Actually, our Columbia team that I was talking about, that's based out of Columbia, South Carolina. They're 24/7. So you're going to be accessing the same support internationally that we're using nationally. And the good thing is that we are staffed in such a way that you're not going to get the graded support just because you're calling it, 6 a.m. or 4 a.m. local time. We're staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no breaks or anything like that. And you're going to be able to get your questions answered, and we'll be able to schedule and work around what's best for you to be able to make sure that we can meet all of your support needs with our product.
All right, well, that looks like that was our final question of the day. We do want to thank everybody again for their time and interest in Unitrends and for all of the great questions today. We do look forward to following up with each and every one of you here over the next 2 days, and hope you have a great afternoon. Thank you.
Bye.